Greetings, I am the man that I am, and I am learning out loud. As I said on previous video that I have a lot of videos in my to watch later, and there's so many things that I'm interested in listening to and learning that it's kind of hard to try to figure out what to watch next. But I chose this one, philosophy, because I heard about the Ship of Theseus puzzle, and as a philosopher, I wanted to better understand what's going on with this puzzle or the paradox about it. And I saved this to watch later, and I'm about to watch it now. Let's go.
I'm Jennifer Wang. I'm a professor of philosophy at the University of Georgia. Today I'm going to talk about the Ship of Theseus puzzle. This puzzle was recorded by Plutarch, an ancient Greek historian, though it's come up in many different forms over the ages. It goes like this. Theseus was this great mythical hero of Athens who sailed off to Crete and slew the Minotaur, a creature with the head of a bull and the body of a man. After Theseus came back, his ship was left in the Athenian harbor as a memorial. Over centuries, the planks of the ship decayed and were gradually replaced. Now, it doesn't really matter that the planks decayed or that the ship still had masts and sails and other ship stuff too. We can simplify the story. Let's pretend that the Ship of Theseus is a very simple ship made of 1,000 planks and nothing more. Let's also say that the planks are made of invincible wood, superwood, so that they never decay. In what I'll call Scenario 1, the Ship of Theseus has its 1,000 planks replaced very slowly over the course of 1,000 years. That's one plank a year. So here's the puzzle. Surely a ship can survive the replacement of one of its planks. In year 1, when the first plank is replaced, it's still the Ship of Theseus. In year 2, when the second plank is replaced, it's still the Ship of Theseus, and so on through year 1000. But the ship at year 0, the original Ship of Theseus, doesn't share any of the same parts with the ship at year 1000, which we can call A. So how can A be the real Ship of Theseus? Thomas Hobbes, a 17th century English philosopher, added a twist to the story. In Scenario 2, a ship repairman keeps all of the old planks of the Ship of Theseus and uses them to build an exact replica of the original ship with all of the planks in the same arrangement. So in this scenario, at year 1000, there are two exactly similar ships. The one whose planks were gradually replaced, which we called A in Scenario 1, and the one built from the old planks, which we can call B. Now, A has the same claim to being the real Ship of Theseus as it did in Scenario 1, but B also has a good claim to being the real Ship of Theseus. After all, it's made of the same parts as the original Ship of Theseus, in the same arrangement.
Okay. Maybe I'm tripping. So, Odysseus sailed and used this ship, and after his journey was over with, and he was finished sailing, he parked his ship on a dock or whatever, and they decided to make a monument out of it and just let it sit there as tribute to him. So the ship is just there. Um, and over time, from just sitting there, they were just replacing um, planks that got bad. And the issue is over time, if you end up replacing pretty much the whole ship, how is this his ship anymore? And in Scenario 2, the parts that were being replaced were not being destroyed, they were being saved to create another or recreate the same ship but with the original parts. I'm kind of lost because I guess I'm not lost, but I'm curious to know what is the point of this? To honestly, like I guess we're trying to identify what ship is the original ship, or what ship is really has claim to the ship of Theseus. But this seems like a an ownership problem more than it does a identity problem. Like it seems like the problem is okay. If I bought a ship and I named the ship Dominion, it is Dominion ship. The day that I bought the ship and its original parts on the ship is the original ship. A year later, while using the ship, if I decide to replace anything on this ship, it is not the original ship anymore, right? It's still my ship. It is still the ship of Dominion, except it's just not the original anymore. Because I replaced a part that got broken or got old or got rusted or whatever. I just replaced it. Over time, if I end up replacing almost the entire ship or the entire ship, it's still my ship. Because I still own it. I'm still using it. I still, I guess, cruise or do whatever I do on my ship. It's my ship. Right? Am I tripping? So the very first time that I replace any parts on my ship, it is no longer my original ship. But it still is my ship because I own it. And I guess their puzzle is the ownership part of it. Like this seems like am I tripping? If the parts that I replaced on my ship I threw away and someone decided to go behind me and take all the parts that I threw away and build another ship with all the parts that I threw away from my ship, do they have the right to say that that ship that they collected all the parts from off of my original ship is now the original um Dominion ship? So this is so once again it seems like it goes back to ownership. Are we really arguing about this is kind of crazy. Are we really arguing or trying to figure out if the ship that got rebuilt with the old parts is still my ship? My ship would be the ship that I'm using, right? Maybe if we took the ship of Theseus away, like just a regular ship, and don't place ownership on it. Because whatever ship that I'm actually using that is actually called mine, that's that's on the dock right now, that's still my ship. The ship that you created is not my ship anymore. It has my original parts, but that is not the ship that I own. Unless you're telling me you're going to recreate this ship and give it back to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know, man. Okay. I don't know.
But they can't both be the Ship of Theseus. Let's look more carefully at the underlying assumptions that generate the puzzle. One assumption is that ordinary objects survive gradual change. This is very plausible. You can't destroy a coat just by removing one of its buttons. Maybe you then ruin the aesthetic of the coat, but that's not what's at issue here. It's still the same coat, it's just changed a bit. The principle that ordinary objects survive gradual change motivates the conclusion that A is the real Ship of Theseus. Another assumption is that an object goes where its parts go, so to speak, at least in cases where the parts are in the same arrangement. Let's modify our scenario so that the planks of the ship are gradually removed but aren't replaced with new planks. Again, the old planks are used to build an exact replica of the ship so that at the end of the new scenario, there's only one ship, the ship we called B. Call this modified scenario Scenario 3. The principle that an object goes where its parts go motivates the conclusion that B is the real Ship of Theseus in Scenario 3.
Okay. Original objects survive gradual change. An object goes where its parts goes. Once again, okay. This seems like an ownership thing once again. Because even if she brought up the coat, if you take a button off my coat or a button off my coat falls off, so it's no longer my original coat that I had. So I go out and purchase another button and sew it on there. It's still my coat that I'm wearing. If you break down my ship and replace what I called my ship with new parts, when I'm getting ready to go somewhere, am I jumping into my ship where the parts were replaced? Or am I jumping into what you recreated from my old parts? But that's no longer my ship. I don't know. Am I losing it? Okay, what about I have a car. I purchased the car. When I purchased the car and drove the car off the lot, that was the original car. If I then stop and go get rims for the car, that means they're going to take off the wheels and the rims of the original car and put on the wheels and rims that I purchased onto the car. Now the car that I'm cranking up and driving away with is my new car. It is no longer the original car that I bought off the lot. It is the same car, but new parts. If the wheels I took off that car, I decide to sell to someone else, why do I care if that was my original wheels or not? Why should we care about me replacing planks that were bad from my ship? And whatever you want to do with those planks, those bad planks that I took off my ship, is your business. I'm not going to come back and say, hey, all my old planks that I took off that you used to recreate this ship, I don't have ownership on it. It's not mine anymore. Why am I considering this ship, these items that I purposely, intentionally cast away, threw away, got rid of for newer parts? How is that mine? This is an ownership issue, right? Am I tripping? And even a bigger picture is, what does this have to do with anything real world? I guess this was just a mind challenge or something, because this has no relevance I can think of real world. What does it matter if this chair gets replaced part by part over time, and the parts that I threw away, someone decided to put back together and drive off with it? It's no longer my chair. I can't go to their house and be like, hey, all those parts I threw away, I got rid of, that I noticed that you now put together and made your own chair is technically mine. No, it's not. I threw it away. And maybe they're not seeing it as an ownership thing because I guess the ship of the ship is no longer in use and Theseus is dead and gone. But that's even an ownership thing too. So because as Theseus, if I'm dead and gone, it's not my ship no more. Anyway, I can't use it. If you want to memorialize it and put it somewhere and you decide to over time to continue to change or place new parts on it because of the wear and tear of just being there, it's a monument. That ship represents, it's not my actual ship. It was no longer my ship once I passed away. And now, no matter how much time passes by, it's never going to be my ship again. It's there for monument. It's there for remembering to. I don't understand what's going on here. Am I tripping?
But it motivates this conclusion in scenario 2 as well, where there are two ships at the end. It doesn't look like both principles can stay. Which should go? Let's go through some possible solutions to the puzzle of the Ship of Theseus, some of which involve rejecting one principle or the other. They all come with disadvantages. Solution 1 is to deny the parts principle. This solution involves saying that in scenario 3, the ship at the end is not the Ship of Theseus, even though it has all the same parts arranged in all the same ways. Solution 2 involves denying the change principle. Ordinary objects survive some gradual change, but not all. That is, sometime between the year 0 and the year 1000, removing a plank destroys the Ship of Theseus. The problem is that this solution seems arbitrary. Why would removing, say, plank number 543 destroy the Ship of Theseus, but not 542?
I mean, once the first plank got replaced, it was no longer the original ship anymore. Am I tripping? Why we have to wait to year 543 to agree that the very first year that anything got replaced, it was no longer the original ship? If we take all the parts off the original ship and then create another ship with the original parts, I guess that's what they're saying. If we break down this ship and rebuild it right beside it, then yes, that would be my ship. It has all my original parts. Whatever ship has all the original parts is the original ship of Theseus, period. It doesn't matter if you go to year 544 or year 26. Any part that got replaced is no longer the original ship. And maybe I'm missing what the big argument is. Because like I said, if we replace everything, if we pretty much, you're saying if you build an entire ship that looks just like the original ship of Theseus, is this the ship? No, it's not, because you built an entire ship based on that ship. So the original ship is still there and you built a completely new ship that looks like that one, right? The only way that this remains the ship of his ship is with all the original parts. Any part that's taken off there is not the original ship. So this new ship that you created is not his original ship. It is not his ship. And why does any of this matters when the ship was supposed to be a monument? You know what I'm saying? Like just there as a remembrance of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then like, why wouldn't you try your best to keep some parts of the original ship there? Understand replacing, let's say if it's just sitting in the water and you have to replace the bottom of the boat over time. Okay, why not keep, if it's the ship is not selling anywhere, if it's no longer going anywhere, he's dead. This is just here as something visitors can come see. Why wouldn't you try to maintain some of the original ship with it? And I'm sure that they do this nowadays. Like some places you go to, like, hey, these parts got replaced, but these parts are original. In that essence, then yes, this is what we have left of the original ship. When I go visit, okay, this is what we have left of the original ship. But if you replace this whole ship over time, it is no longer the ship. It was no longer the ship the first time you replaced anything. It was no longer the original ship, right? I don't know, man.
And at that moment, does the ship being built out of the old planks in scenario 2 suddenly become the Ship of Theseus? On solution 3, the plank which destroys the Ship of Theseus is not some middling plank. Rather, as soon as plank number 1 is removed, the ship is destroyed. This solution involves denying the change principle as well, but it offers a stronger thesis in its place. Ordinary objects never survive any change. This view was advocated by Roderick Chisholm, a 20th century American philosopher who was inspired by Bishop Joseph Butler, an 18th century English theologian and philosopher. Butler's thesis was that ordinary objects like ships persist only in a loose and popular sense. Whether A or B is regarded as the Ship of Theseus ends up being something of a practical matter. According to Butler's thesis, no ship really ever survives any change. However, not only is this view implausible, it implies that there are 1,000 ships where we thought there was only one, as the destruction of each ship is followed by the creation of a new one. On solution 4, neither the change principle nor the parts principle needs to be rejected. Rather, the solution here is to say that A and B are each the Ship of Theseus. This involves rejecting the following principle, called the transitivity of identity. If x is identical to y and y is identical to z, then x is identical to z. On solution 4,
Okay, I know I'm saying this a lot, and I guess whoever watching can enlighten me, but how can they both be the same ship if we start off with an original ship and over 1,000 years, every part of the original ship got replaced? It is no difference than we starting off with the original ship. In the next year or two, someone spends their time recreating the original ship. Am I tripping? If the original ship was right here, right outside, and there are workers right beside the original ship recreating the original ship, looking at it and mimicking it perfectly, there's only one ship that's still Theseus. It's the original ship. How can what you just made or recreated right beside it be Theseus' ship? It doesn't matter about the time. Why does time even apply to this? I'm not. I'm tripping. Even if it took 1,000 years, it is not the original ship if every part was replaced.
A is identical to the Ship of Theseus, and the Ship of Theseus is identical to B, but A is not identical to B. According to solution 5, the worm theory solution, we need to change the way we're thinking about ordinary objects. Here's the idea. I introduce scenario 2 like this. There is a ship at year 0 and 2 ships at year 1000, and the challenge is to figure out which of the 2 ships at year 1000 is identical to the ship at year 0. The implicit assumption that worm theory rejects is that ordinary objects, like ships, are three-dimensional objects, where the 3 dimensions are spatial dimensions. According to worm theory, ordinary objects really have 4 dimensions, 3 spatial and 1 temporal. So there are no ships wholly present at year 0 or at year 1000. Rather, there is one worm-like ship which has a part at year 0 at one end and has A as a part at the other end. And there is another worm-like ship which...
Am I tripping, or does it just seem like they got bored? Like they have 5 different solutions for something that seems, I don't know. And like I said, maybe I'm losing it. Maybe I'm tripping and I need to be enlightened. But I don't understand how these philosophers have even what she's saying right now. Like and I agree, there's no way the original ship will stay as is. Over time, wear and tear is going to modify that ship, period. Period. But if you're coming to me with a scenario in which at a certain point in time all the parts of the ship got replaced, then it's no longer the ship. And this goes back to my understanding about it is the ownership of it. If you're saying that I own the ship and that over time I am the person that is replacing everything because of wear and tear over time, I'm replacing things and I'm still operating, riding, cruising, going wherever I want to in my ship, then from year 1 until I die, that's my ship. It doesn't matter. Even if I end up replacing the whole ship, it was my ship still. It is my original ship because I never lost ownership of the ship. I didn't sell the ship. I didn't trade the ship. It was always my ship and I just replaced parts over time. If so happened over time I end up with a new ship, it was still my ship. If you remove ownership, then this one ship over time would naturally have parts it needs to be replaced. The original ship, as soon as we have to fully replace any parts of this ship, is not the original ship anymore. If at any time we completely replace everything about the ship, then it is a new ship. It is not a new ship as we go year by year, but as I get to 1000 year, year 1000, it is not my original ship anymore because there's no original parts left on it. That ship, there's no original parts left on it. And there was no ownership or attachment left to it. Who cares? Why do we even care about what is going on here? We really, like, what is the real world situation or what we're trying to discover about this that affects our day to day or how we perceive or how we view things going forward? Like, were we just bored at this time when we came up with this? Yeah, like, and the whole thing that really throws it off to me is because it's right there. Ship of Theseus. Y'all are it's right there. It's ownership. Ownership. If we're talking about ownership, that means that this person's original ship, when it was right there on the dock, and he passed away as soon as he, I don't know, fell off of it or whatever, and it was just parked there. And y'all decided just to keep it there to remember him for his greatness. Remember this ship. Over time, certain parts of it will start decaying, and you decide to replace those parts. From year 1 to year 1,000, if you end up replacing the entire ship, you can still claim that this is the ship of Theseus because it's a monument. Why would you replace every part of the ship though? You should, or you would, maintain some originality to it for, I guess, tourists or whatever. If someone comes onto the ship, hey, the whole bottom part of this ship is new because we had to do whatever we needed to do. But all this, the inside, outside, these parts right here are original. This wood right here is original. This here is original. You will keep something original on it. So this whole thing is just so, I don't know where we're getting with this.
which has a part at year 0 at one end and B as a part at the other. The two worm-like entities have overlapping parts at year 0. This solution doesn't require rejecting transitivity, the parts principle, or the change principle. After all, it's no longer clear what claim we're making when we assert A is identical to the Ship of Theseus, or the Ship of Theseus is identical to B. A and B are not identical to each other, but nor are either of them identical to the Ship of Theseus. They both have the object at year 0 as a part. That is all. As you can see, accepting any of these 5 solutions comes with disadvantages. But to resolve the puzzle, it looks like we have to accept some disadvantage or other.
Okay. Um, that's it. I'm kind of disappointed in this. And I guess it's because of my own thinking, my rationale, my logic on things. I really would like to know, and maybe that's on me because I need to do more research and study on this. What is the real world implications about this? First off, for these, I'm gonna say great philosophers. I don't know all the philosophers that actually participate and try to figure this out, but what is what does how does this play a role in real world situation? Who lives 1,000 years in her scenario, and why are we caring about items that were replaced or will be replaced or will fade or disappear or fall off the face of the earth over time? I really think that this is a real ownership thing in which, once again, know I probably said this a couple times, but if I own it, it's mine until I die. Once I'm dead and gone, I personally don't care what happens to it because I can't use it anymore. I own my car. Let's say that's equivalent to a ship. If I die today, wherever that car goes, why should I care? If I was popular or whatever and someone wanted to, I guess, make it a symbol of my existence and name it DaMan's car and place it somewhere, we know through our own history that we try our best to preserve the original of things like that, right? So even if you have to replace the tires because over the years it just started whatever. The things that doesn't need to be modified or changed, something original stayed on there. And in their scenario, they not only just replaced things that got damaged over time, they end up replacing the entire ship. So they end up replacing my entire car. If they end up replacing my entire car, it's no longer my car. And they're trying to draw this out or make this something to think about because of the time. Why does time matter in this situation? If the original ship is in great condition on day 1 and on day 30 someone decides to build or rebuild the original ship right beside it, they're looking at the ship and they're rebuilding it or making a new ship, because it's not rebuilding, they're making a new ship based on how the original ship looks, side by side, just looking at it working. And after 3 months, there's now 2 ships there. There's the original ship and there's the new ship that looks exactly like the original ship. Which one is my ship? My ship would be the original ship, not the one that you recreated in 3 months' time. So it wouldn't be the ship you recreated in 1,000 years. Unless I'm operating the ship, then it doesn't matter. My original ship, if I'm operating and using it, it's my ship. If I replace one plank on my ship, it's still my ship. If I end up replacing all the planks on my ship, what I'm riding around is still my ship. What I threw away is no longer mine because I threw it away. What are we trying to identify here? Um, I think this is very interesting, at least for me, and this is probably the most, the most, I guess, entertaining that I probably would get on some of these things. But this is really like bothering me, and I would like to know. I really would like to know other thoughts about this, because I really want to be enlightened about what's going on. Am I seeing this wrong? Is there some growth that I need, or am I not understanding something? Uh, anyway, this was good. This was really good, even though it was good. I am the man that I am, and until next time, thank you for joining.